Hello, I am Karma Kitaj, and I'm your host for A Livelihood, New Adventures as We Age. And today I'm going to introduce you to Marcos Rosenbaum. Marcos has been in this country for a number of decades, coming here from Argentina, and he started out as a physicist. And then in his 60s, he changed careers to something very different. So let's hear about that.
Thank you, Karma.
And welcome to A Livelihood.
Thank you very much. Yes, I decided to switch careers and switch.
Very drastic switch, wasn't it?
Very drastic switch, and perhaps what was more important is making the decision to go back to school.
What was that like for you, making that decision?
Well, it was a lot of reflection and conversation with my wife and making decisions together.
I think you told me at that point you were doing more kind of marketing.
It was more marketing, and I work with medical equipment, the high-tech equipment, what is called, and in telecommunications, and but essentially was more not from the design point of view, was more on the promotion and trying to get big contracts and on different countries. So I really traveled.
So you don't really have a business background.
Yeah, I thought, or I wanted to, yes, the switch was into the business world without being trained. So essentially, I was using more my technical.
Right. So really, you made a career change back then, didn't you?
That was another, but there are several changes in my life. One important change was leaving Argentina and coming to this country also.
And what made you leave Argentina?
It was a complicated time in Argentina where people disappeared, and it's called desaparecidos. So that was one of the main. I used to teach actually in the university. Also, I used to teach physics and in the university. So I decided I needed to leave the country, and I was lucky. I had a chance to go to Israel. I had a chance to go to Japan, and I was lucky because also MIT offered me a position, and that was my choice.
You made that big change to emigrate to the U.S.?
Yes, big change.
Yeah. And then you were doing research.
I did. I spent 7 years in MIT. I finished I completed. I got my doctorate degree in physics, a PhD, and I was in the scientific world. I wrote. I have several papers written in my field was plasma physics, and so. Yeah, I reached a point I wanted to do something different also. So these kind of things that happen, that we get unquiet, and that's something we can talk about.
A little restless, huh?
Right. And so I applied for in the high-tech world, and I was. I had like VP positions in international, in sales and marketing. So all that was also another learning experience I had to do.
Yeah. Had you seen yourself before that job, that career change, as being someone who would be good in the business world?
It was a part of me that I really wanted to try. But after several years doing that, I reached a point I wasn't completely pleased of being in the corporate world. I wasn't pleased on having that continuous pressure to increase the sales, and that's something that didn't speak to me too much. In one of my trips, I had a TIA that could end into I could end being disabled or die. Fortunately, I recovered very well. So that was a wake-up call for Marcos. An important wake-up call that I think it's important to listen to that. So I went to the School of Social Work. I'm a social worker now. I have my LCSW. And
which means that you're not quite eligible to practice independently.
Right. So I work in agencies, and I like it. I like to work. Right. I work with low-income people, and it's something that also I think is important.
So, what is there, do you think, about the way you grew up in Argentina that might lend itself to or sort of describe more about who you are today?
Yeah, that's the source. My parents, I'm Jewish, from a first generation Jewish. My parents arrived in Argentina in 1923. My parents also helped to build a first small temple in the barrio where we grew up in the region. I'm talking about less than 10 years after World War II. Argentina is a wonderful country in which I love it, and I like the country, and I like the way that we are, but has many issues. And during my childhood, I witnessed or experienced anti-Semitism or discrimination, and So perhaps that's, I think, is the source of Marco's curiosity.
Yeah, so let's shift gears a little bit, and because I want to know more about what you're involved with now. And I know you have a radio show. Yeah. Right? Why don't you talk about that a little?
Well, among many things I'm interested in. I work in 2 agencies now, as I mentioned before. And I work with some of my clients are DMH from the Department of Mental Health. So I feel okay working with people that some of them they hear voices, or they are not really in our world. And I feel okay connecting with them. So I was part of. I decided to move away from the board and from an organization called NAMI, N-A-M-I, National Alliance of Mental Illness, and together with other people, I created NAMI Latino, National Alliance of Mental Illness Latino, and I am every Tuesday from 6:30 to 7:30 in WUNR 1600. AM.
And that's it, that airs in the Boston area only,
yeah, it's the Boston area, Revere, Lynn.
So you interview people about all different aspects of mental illness, but it's people within the Latino community.
Yeah, we have a website, I believe it's on the bottom of the screen, that is www.namilatino.org, and this website is since April 1st, and it's in Spanish. Right. And the main goal is for people that search for help, for people that suddenly they have the surprise that somebody in their family suffers mental illness and they don't know what to do, because that surprise can happen to anybody. Of course. Is to contact us. We talk about depression, we talk about domestic violence, we talk about immigration, we talk about if people lose their job, how disheartening that is, or how disorienting it is. Sometimes people feel that they have their job for the rest of their life, and suddenly they lose their job.
Well, it's wonderful to learn more about you, and you have so many different parts of yourself.
Right.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Karma, I think this is a great program, and I thank you for inviting me here.